The Los Angeles real estate market is crazy right now. And before I present my solution, my incredible hack for actually buying a property in this market for less than what it's worth, let me show you what I mean. 1452 Cerro Gordo Street, a lovely 892 square foot, 2-bed, 1-bath house in my old neighborhood of Echo Park that recently sold for $2.245 million. Now look, this house is gorgeous and includes a detached studio and a small pool, but come on, who's buying a home with one toilet for $2.245 million? So the market's crazy, but unfortunately, most people's lives aren't in perfect sync with the housing cycle. And that's a problem a lot of home buyers, especially first-time millennial home buyers, are facing right now. It's the right moment in their lives to buy a home, but by almost every measure, it's the most difficult time in American history to buy a home. Well, gang, I think I have a solution. Today, I'm sharing with you a pretty incredible strategy for buying a home in a crazy market like Los Angeles without getting into a bidding war, and more importantly, without overpaying. In fact, it's even possible, utilizing this strategy, to buy a home for less than its actual value. And I'm bringing you to a real property and showing you my numbers so you can see for yourself exactly how this works. I'm Jon Schwartz, a realtor and real estate investor in Los Angeles, California, and I help home buyers in LA and throughout the country hack their way into smarter home ownership. Visit me at www.househack.la if you'd like to learn more. Now let's get into it. This strategy revolves around a financing product called a renovation loan. Now, I recently made a whole video about reno loans, which I'll link to in the description below, but here's the TLDR on how they work, and then we'll talk strategy. Renovation loans work like normal loans, but the loan isn't based on the home you're buying, it's based on the home you'll end up with after doing a renovation paid for with the loan. So with a normal loan, you see a nice house that costs $300,000 and the bank will lend you up to 95% of $300,000 to help you buy the house. With a reno loan, you see a crappy house that costs $200,000 but would be worth $300,000 after a renovation. And the bank will lend you up to 95% of $300,000 to help you buy and renovate the house. You put $200,000 of the loan toward buying the house and then use the rest of the loan to hire a bank-approved general contractor to execute the renovation within 6 months. So how do we use a reno loan in a market like Los Angeles to buy a home without a bidding war and without overpaying? Well, let me demonstrate with an example. 453 Alberta Street in Altadena, a super cute neighborhood just outside of LA proper. 453 Alberta Street is a fixer. She's a 3-bed, 1-bath, single-family home that frankly has seen better days. She was listed at $869,900, let's just say $870K. And is it weird that I'm calling a house she? Might be weird. I'll stop. I visited 453 Alberta Street with a client, but because the property is currently occupied by its seller, we'll have to visit her, the house, via the magic of a virtual tour. Looking at the facade of the home, we notice two things. Firstly, on the left, you can see in the stucco imperfections that a much larger window used to be here. And if one were to renovate this home, a valuable upgrade would be to restore a much larger window, possibly an arched window, to this area. Secondly, this front room looks a little janky. And it looks janky because it was originally the front patio. When we step inside, we see the facade of the home as it was built in 1925. The stucco front wall, this front original entrance to the dining room, and this original front door. In fact, you can see in the floor of this front room the original concrete tiling of the patio. So the best thing to do with this unpermitted room conversion is undo it. Tear down this room, patch up the stucco, and return this home to its original 1925 facade. Let's step into the living room. Most home buyers look at this and see a hoarder house. Here's what I see. Original oak flooring. Sure, most of it's in pretty rough shape, but if the boards are thick enough, they can be sanded and refinished. And whatever handful of boards are too damaged to salvage can be replaced. I also see, with the exception already noted, all original windows. And they're in very good shape. In fact, except for the one front window that we'll be replacing anyway, all of the windows in this home are original and in great shape. Speaking of original, look at this ceiling. Sure, the plaster has cracks, and it's definitely worth investigating where it's discolored, as discoloration is often a sign of water damage, but this period plaster ceiling and these walls are amazing. Moving into the dining room, we have more of the same. Original plasterwork on the ceiling, original built-in cabinetry, and original oak floorboards underneath the carpeting. And get this carpeting isn't even properly installed. It's just laid over the oak boards. I lifted this edge of the carpet up and could see the oak extending underneath it. This whole room is a few $1,000s worth of cosmetic reno work away from being back to its original condition. Stepping into the kitchen, we have original cabinetry, original countertops, and more original windows. Now, a kitchen like this can be restored by sanding and repainting the cabinets, replacing any countertop tiles that warrant it, and replacing this more recent floor with a tiling scheme that matches the era. Or, for not much more money, you could haul everything out and install a brand new kitchen. Or, my path of choice would be to do a little of both. Keep the cabinets, sanded and repainted, but replace the knobs and hinges with something a little more contemporary, a little more Dwell magazine. Either way you take it, this is a great space to start with. Behind the kitchen, we have a rather spacious laundry room. A lot of unused space with plumbing already in the walls. This could make for a master bath. Let's file that thought away for a moment and continue to the bedrooms. In the hallway, we have more oak floorboards and built-in cabinetry. I'd take down this wall furnace and install a central air system with ducting running through the crawl space. Bedroom number 1 is a good size with oak floors, original windows, a walk-in closet, and except for some plaster repair needed on the ceiling, it's in great shape. Bedroom number 2, more of the same. In the hallway bathroom, we have a hodgepodge of original details and newer additions. The wall tiles are original. The flooring is not. The cabinetry and built-in medicine cabinet is original, but its blue color is not. The vanity, toilet, and shower stall are all newer additions. In an ideal world, it'd be great to rip these all out and update the bathroom in a style that comports with the original tiling and built-ins. Finally, we go to the master bedroom, which is quite like the other two, and if we consult the floor plan, we see that the master bedroom shares a wall with our previously visited laundry room. Perfect. The smart move here is to move the water heater outside, find a new place probably amongst all this storage for a stacked washer dryer, and convert this laundry room into a proper en-suite bathroom for the master bedroom. All right, what we just toured was a Reno Loan dream house. Why? Because it's a 1925 home in almost perfect original condition. Sure, it's a borderline hoarder house with walls covered in grime, an unpermitted front room, and stale carpeting covering the floors. But with a relatively inexpensive, mostly cosmetic renovation, this home can be restored to its prior glory. How inexpensive a renovation, you asked? Well, let's just do some spitballing. I like to estimate reno costs very conservatively so that the actual bid from an actual contractor is a sweet surprise and not a deal breaker. Let's see. We have the front window to replace, the exterior to repaint, the front room to demo, about 1,500 square feet of oak floorboards to sand and refinish, 6 rooms plus a hallway of plaster to repair and repaint, 25 to 30 windows to gently restore, a kitchen to renovate, a bathroom to renovate, and a new bathroom to install. Let's also add central air, redo the electrical wiring. I don't know if you noticed the current fuse box is in the laundry room, and it is not sufficient for a modern home. And redo some plumbing, including moving the water heater outside and the washer dryer to elsewhere in the house. And what do we get? By my very rough, very ballpark, very conservative estimate, 453 Alberta Street could become a beautifully restored, fully repaired, and move-in ready home for about $140,000. Add that to the list price of $870,000 and you end up with a total cost of $1,010,000. Quick side note, if anybody from outside LA is still watching, $1 million for a newly renovated 3-bed, 2-bath home is a pretty good deal for Los Angeles. The question is it worth it to pay $1,010,000 for this Los Angeles 3-bed, 2-bath home? And to answer that question, we look at recently sold comparable homes to derive a post-reno evaluation for 453 Alberta. Now, you can do this on your own for free with Redfin or Zillow. Do a search for homes within a half mile of the subject property that sold ideally within the last 3 months. And if you can, keep your search to similarly sized homes with the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms. You want to compare apples to apples. As a realtor, I can do this real quick inside the MLS. A total of 4 3-bed, 2-bath homes sold within a half mile of 453 Alberta Street within the last 3 months. Their average square footage is 1,492 square feet, which is nearly perfect because Alberta, that's why I'm saying she, because Alberta is a woman's name. Well, that's not weird at all. Where were we? 453 Alberta Street measures 1,488 square feet, so we know that we have a good batch of comps. The average price per square foot of the comps is $787.45. So apply that to Alberta's 1,488 square feet, and we come up with a valuation of $1,171,725. Now look, We just did some quick and dirty comping to come up with this valuation. We could easily be off by, say, 10%, in which case Alberta would be worth only $1,054,000. But remember, this is a property that we can achieve for a total cost of $1,010,000. So even if our comping is way off, and even if the market appreciation we're seeing completely ceases, you'd still be getting into the property for less than its value. And that would happen in a market as insane as Los Angeles, in a year as absurd as 2022. Okay, so we found an ideal property for a reno loan, and that's the first pillar of the strategy. Finding a home with comps that support the cost of a conservative renovation. If you're uncomfortable pulling comps or don't have a handle on ballparking reno costs, work with an agent who does. Namely me if you're in the LA area, or I can help you find an appropriate agent in your market. Just email me at john@hhla.co. Pillar number 2 of this strategy is finding the right situation. Look, most great deals are going to be scooped up by flippers making cash offers. So you have to find the property that's priced a little too high for the flippers or being sold by a party that doesn't want to sell to the flippers. In this situation, we had both. The property was originally listed at $890, and even at $870, it still didn't solicit many offers. In fact, there was only one other offer on the property. And secondly, the sellers had already been burned by a low sight unseen offer. A sight unseen offer, as the name implies, is an offer made without the buyer even visiting the property. This isn't uncommon, especially amongst flippers, but it can produce a negative outcome. In this case, the buyer was ultimately unable to perform. The listing agent thinks the buyer intended to flip the contract to another buyer and couldn't find one, so had to bail. This happens. The good news for my client is that the seller was no longer considering sight unseen offers. What's more, the seller needed a flexible escrow in order to find and buy their next home. This is exactly what you want when you're offering with a reno loan, because the one meaningful drawback to the product is that it requires a 45 to 60-day escrow period. Most sellers of distressed properties want as fast an escrow as possible in order to get paid as fast as possible. When the case is otherwise, you, as a reno loan buyer, have an opportunity. So in this case, there's one other bid. It was accommodating of the seller's escrow needs, and with a little nudging, I got out of the listing agent that this offer was below asking price. So all it would take to secure the property would be an offer at asking price. And this brings us to the final lesson of today's video. Get your pre-approval letter in place before you go out shopping. The only thing that prevented my client from offering and securing this excellent reno loan purchase was his lack of a pre-approval letter. More lessons like this almost every week right here on House Hack Living. See you next time.